Emmert International proudly presents the 2007 Moving Job of the Year entry for the Specialized Carriers and Rigging Association. Emmert was awarded the contract to remove and transport the 26-vehicle, 198-passenger MV John Atlantic Burr, a 467-ton ferry from Lake Powell in Utah to a shipyard in Vancouver, British Columbia. Emmert needed to pull the ferry out of Lake Powell, up a challenging incline to a staging area, and then coordinate dismantling and shipping of the ferry's components and hull, which were to be cut into 4 pieces. While the ferry's components were shipped by truck directly to the final destination, the hull pieces would be trucked to the Port of Tacoma in Washington. Emmert's team was faced with several other unique challenges on this project, including steep grades, having to use dollies underwater in an environmentally sensitive, protected area, dismantling the ferry while it was on a trailer, and coordinating the transport of all the pieces. Emmert's project team had 1 month to develop and execute a plan that would remove the ferry out of Lake Powell. The biggest challenge of the job was to move the complete 1,080,000-pound ferry out of Lake Powell. Emmert's team designed a trailer that would be submerged under the ferry and support the hull as it was moved out of the water. The 12 Emmert dollies were pressure tested to ensure that there were no leaks in the hydraulic systems, drained of axle oil, and then steam cleaned to ensure that no contaminants would be released into the environmentally sensitive lake. As an extra precaution, an environmental response team was on hand during this operation to watch for and to contain any spills that may occur. 3 of Emmert's prime movers were needed to pull the ferry up the boat launch ramp, with a grade varying between 9 and 12 degrees. Once the ferry had reached the level staging area at the top of the boat launch, crews began dismantling the ferry for its journey to the Port of Tacoma. Components that were not part of the hull were removed and placed onto drop-deck trailers, then taken directly to the shipyard in Vancouver, BC. When that was completed, the hull was cut into 4 pieces for the trip to Tacoma. Each section, 120 feet long, 23 feet 7 inches wide, 15 feet 2 inches high, and weighing 110,000 pounds. The plan called for 2 trips, with each trip taking 2 hull pieces on separate 130-foot double-width trailers. The trailers, built to hold the hull sections, each use 6 of Emmert's highway dollies and utilize bracing to prevent damage to the cargo. Emmert had to secure haul permits and arrange police escorts for the double-width loads through the states of Utah, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. The route primarily stayed on main highways, but a few bridges could not support the weight and had to be bypassed. Along the way, the loads were delayed for various weather-related reasons, from snowstorms to icy roads. Once all 4 pieces reached the port, they were loaded onto a waiting barge and taken to the shipbuilder's yard in Vancouver, BC, so the ferry could be reconstructed and put back into service. This project drew a significant amount of interest from the general public, which created a high amount of media attention around both Lake Powell and in Vancouver. This media attention really allowed Emmert to show how it can meet unique transportation challenges. Overall dimensions: length 120 feet, width 45 feet, height 45 feet 2 inches. Gross weight 1,080,000 pounds. Planning the job: 1 month planning and permitting process, 253 hours of engineering, 332 hours of planning and coordination. Permits: approvals from the states of Arizona, Utah, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington, along with U.S. and international customs. Physical elements encountered: challenging incline between 9 and 12 degrees, dismantling and shipping of the ferry's components and hull, using dollies underwater in an environmentally sensitive, protected area, dismantling the ferry while it was on a trailer, coordinating the transport of all the pieces in 3 different trips using separate routes, snowstorms and icy roads. Safety considerations: Emmert's safety practices were in effect at all times. An environmental response team was on hand during this operation to watch for and to contain any spills that may occur. Emmert had to secure haul permits and arrange police escorts for the double-width loads through the states of Utah, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. Execution: 5,751 man-hours on the job. Ingenuity and innovations: design a trailer that would be submerged under the ferry and support the hull as it moved out of the water. 12 Emmert dollies were pressure tested to ensure there were no leaks in the hydraulic systems. Dollies drained of axle oil and then steam cleaned to ensure that no contaminants would be released into the environmentally sensitive lake. Loss prevention: no accidents, no injuries, no incidents, no property damage, no loss of time, no structural damage, no cargo damage. Schedule: on schedule and within budget. Contract: lump sum, firm fixed price. All operations were done under the care, custody, and control of Emmert International.